All right, folks. Look, hey, I've been editing on this for about a month now. We recorded this a long time ago. And of course, Travis does an amazing job at recounting these stories. He should start his own web series where he just recounts these stories and goes over these movies. He did an amazing job. So this was originally going to be episodes 4 and 5, but this is just going to be episode 4. So episode 5 will come out later. It is not fair to keep editing on this forever. I've already had it for a month. I've done a lot of work on this, but I want to get this out because I think it's super fun. This is a very long recalling of the story. It will take you longer to watch this video than it will be to watch the episode, but I guarantee you, you'll have a lot more fun here. Thanks to Cindy and thanks to Travis for his amazing storytelling, and let's get into this thing. That's right, look at us. Hey, I hit record this time, guys. We are doing things a new way around here, kind of a different setup. We are not doing these live. We are recording these and then bringing them to you. That way we can bring you the best of everything without just hanging out for 2 hours and wasting all your time. Now, I can't do this by myself, and here's an intro I haven't ran in a long time. I don't want a copyright strike, so I'm going to sing a little bit of this song.
Well, ahoy, man! How's it going?
Good, man. Been a while. It's been a while, dude.
It's been a while. I like the shirt, man.
You like it?
I heard that August is Suns Out, Guns Out.
It is. Hold on. Let me get my shades on here so I can make this official.
But no, everybody doesn't have to do it. I'm just saying that's what Devin said, that this was this month. So It's Suns Out, Guns Out. So it's sleeveless shirts and sunglasses on all the videos and streams. So that's what it is.
I've got to find my prescription shades because I can't see a damn thing without them. All right, we got one more person here. We've got another one of our fellow nerds from our old Nerd Talk show, and you know who it is.
She got vision. She got vision. She got vision. Bing, 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 bing. She got vision. She got vision. She got vision. Bing, 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 bing. She got vision. She got vision. She got vision. Bing, 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 bing. She got vision. She got vision. She got vision. Bing, 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 bing. She got vision. She got vision. She got vision. Bing, 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 bing.
She's like, holy shit, I thought I'd get away from that if we weren't live streaming.
Nope, never. It's her favorite. She loves it. As much as she says she hates it, she loves it.
Oh, it's got the best of everything in it.
Oh,
what's up, boys?
What's up?
Hey, Cindy.
See you over there on Twitch, killing it, both of y'all. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked their channels out, we got a Groovy Lava Squirrel Medic and a Steam Fire and Ice over there on Twitch. Check those channels out.
That's right. And Cindy says that she's going to beat me, so I told her I have to work hard so I can try to keep up with her.
Y'all also give them some game suggestions too. Like they need to know what games you want to see them play. Leisure Suit Larry, maybe. I don't know.
Porn simulator.
The what simulator?
Corn simulator. Corn. You know.
Oh, okay. There is a game called Bum Simulator I really want to look into. But anyway, so Jimmy, we're here again because Invincible is still going.
It is. For
us. And we're going to review 2 episodes today.
Now, full disclaimer, we all went and binged it because we changed up our structure. We knew we weren't going to do the weekly live show, so we just went and binged it. And we got to get through episodes 4 and 5 so we can get down to the meat and potatoes of this show. But we're going to go through episodes 4 and 5 today.
And then the next video, we will do episodes 6, 7, and 8 to close out the season. So the next one's going to be a little bit longer, but trust me, this show, Jimmy, I told you, is it worth it?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
It is worth it.
I fully agreed with your assessment. Once I finished episode 8, I was just sitting there like, holy crap. Like, just kind of breathless. But
what are you talking about? I'm getting private messages. Holy shit. I'm like, oh, fuck, I gotta go and watch this shit now.
All I'm saying is I stick with my word that as much as I love The Boys, this show, the stuff they're able to do with this show is better than The Boys overall.
Yeah, I love The Boys, and but like you said, this is animated, that they can do anything they want. And they did pretty much anything they wanted there. Man, the brutality. Oh, ooh.
Dude, when we get to episode 8, oh my god, that's gonna be the greatest review ever. It's gonna be so good.
I immediately sent Travis the quote from never mind.
We'll talk about that in the next episode.
We'll get to it.
So are y'all ready to get through this?
I'm ready.
Episodes 4 and 5. Now, people, this is not as action oriented as some of the other episodes.
Yeah. Stick with it.
It's sprinkled in there.
Yeah.
This one kind of builds a story. And I fucking hate that bitch.
And I fucking hate that bitch, Amber. And I fucking hate that bitch, Amber.
But y'all will see why here in a second.
She's
Let's
pretty
go
cool.
ahead.
She's pretty cool.
No, she is not.
Not. She is a heartless bitch.
So, y'all ready to go through this?
Let's do it, man. Episode 4. Bam.
Neil Armstrong, Eat Your Heart Out is the title of the episode. So it opens up in the desert, and there's like this guy gets out of the Jeep. He's like, oh, see that scorpion? Fuck it. And he steps on it and squishes it. And he's like, oh, he's smoking a cigarette like he's a badass. And there's these slaves out there, which I thought was horrible to like put on screen in today's world.
I just say I love this. I love the opening of this episode.
Yeah. And he's like, you fucking people work too slow. And he's smoking a cigarette. He's got this weird accent. And they're like, the desert is unforgiving. He's like, not as unforgiving as I'll be. And they get this door open and he walks in and he's like, oh, look at this light, which is amazing. All the glow sticks and all these cartoons where it's like, this is the brightest glow stick ever. It is a fucking fluorescent flashlight is what it is. I don't understand.
Yeah, you would kill somebody to rave with that.
So he goes down and he's got this scarab tattoo and he's like, ooh, and you're thinking this is like a main story that's about to kick off. You're like, oh, who are these bad guys? And all of a sudden he gets this sarcophagus and it starts lighting up and he's like, oh, and then Reject Mumra comes up and he's like, Mumra. And the guy's like, oh my God. And he's screaming and there's like this giant sandstorm coming up and like, and they're going and then
dude gets possessed. He's fixing to take over the whole world.
He's about to step out and then they come and they drop the door right in front of the door. Like the door just drops back down. He's like, fucking piece of shit.
That's it.
And that is all. I was like, Mumra. And no. And I thought it was like going to be a new story arc, but nope. It's just fucking Mumra gets shut back in the tomb. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, because Mark and Nolan, his dad, was just practicing flying, caused a big damn sandstorm.
And you see this sandstorm. This is when Omni-Man's like, hey, do you mind like flying a little bit higher? You're fucking disrupting the desert. And he's like, oh shit, my bad. And he's like, hey,
you wouldn't say that to his face.
You're right, I wouldn't. But he's like, hey, do these tights make my ass look big?
Look at the dump truck on the back of Omni-Man there.
I know, right? He's like, it's flick.
He's all flexed up. He's like, oh.
Leave him alone. He's got a badonkadonk.
So he's just they're talking to each other. He's like, this is the secrets to flying, and you gotta like control yourself, and you get tired and all that good stuff. And then they're like, oh yeah, well I can go just fast you. And he's like, well I'll race you to this place, and the person that gets there last has to do dishes for a week.
It's Mount Everest, right? This time?
Yeah, Mount Everest. He's like, where's Mount Everest? Because it turns out, just like before when they were talking about Mount Rushmore. And he's like, it's the tall one. Because ends up kids today are not taught jack or shit.
It does come up later.
Yeah, it does. And they're flying. And they get up there and he's like, I'm so tired. And he's like, hey, stop being a little bitch. Look at me standing on top of this mountain, sure-footed. And then he's like, this is an awesome fucking view. And then there's a guy climbing up Mount Everest and he gets scared to death when he sees them at top. He's like, hey, let me help you up. And he's like, no, fuck you. And he starts climbing back down. And he's like, oh yeah, this is what it's like being all powerful and you're able to do crazy stuff that nobody else can. The
Someday. Someday
superheroes.
you'll grow one of them power stashes like that.
That's true, but it would just look weird with his stupid cowl.
The bad thing is, at this point, I'm sitting here wondering how many times he has masturbated off of Mount Everest. Thanks, the boys. Thanks for that.
I'm telling you, this is Homelander. He is Homelander, just older.
He may be worse.
Ooh,
Maybe.
debatable.
And he's sitting there. He's like, I want to be a hero and like you, but I have all this stuff to do. I have like high school, and I got this girl with my first date. Her name is Amber. She's a fucking bitch. And he's like, you don't need dates. You need to focus on your training. He's like, oh, come on, Dad. And he's like, oh, fine. And he's like, fine, we'll get home and we'll be good to go. And then he's like, well, the last one home has to do the trash for a month, whatever. Yeah. And of course, Invincible like takes off right off the bat, but then like his dad Omni-Man goes like Mach 27. He's like, and they get home, and she's talking. His Mark's mom is talking to the Russian whore Olga. Yeah.
Red Rush's ex-wife or girlfriend or whatever the hell he was.
Yeah, she's like,
widow.
Remember that Debbie is starting to doubt her husband, and she's like, did Red Rush ever lie to you? And she's like, all the time. I'm a Russian whore. And the one time I did believe him, it backfired on me when he said he didn't have chlamydia, or no, that everything will be okay. And she's like, I'm fucking tired of this place. You need to sell my house, because I forgot that she was a real estate agent. So she's like, sell my house. And so she's all going home all sad. She's like, oh, she's like my only friend, but it doesn't matter. So she goes home, and she's sitting there drinking because she's a lush, and she's researching stuff on that demon detective, Detective Hellboy.
Yeah, Hellboy.
Hellboy in the onesie. She's like, what's his deal? Is he a demon? Is he good? Is he bad? Because she is starting to listen to what he said, and she is having her own doubts. And he's like, we got to find his costume. And then she has to hurry up and close it really fast because they got home, because she was in a private server, because she is secretive. She is secret squirrel. She's hiding shit. Like the deceptive bitch she is. No, I'm just joking. But so they come in, and he's like, oh, Mark says he's going out. And he's like, we should go out. And then she's like, oh, we're going to fuck later, aren't we? And he's like,
oh, yeah.
This alcohol does nothing to me. You're still ugly. And and so Mark takes his bitch-ass girl, Amber.
Oh, and that's Hollow they're eating, if you didn't know.
I don't know what that is.
Marcedale was like, that's Hollow. It's a Philippine dessert.
As they're walking here, and she's like,
oh, well, I did all this stuff when I was a social justice warrior and going and like being all this volunteer stuff and saving the planet. And
at this point, I hate her so much.
And he's like,
gotta save the planet, man. Come on, she's Captain Planet.
Which one is she? Is she
I think she's water.
But Mark's like, yeah, I help people too. And I want to be a social justice warrior and like go against the system. And
wouldn't it be some shit if this was the origin stories of Captain Planet, if that's what all this worked out to be?
Oh God, this is fucked.
And he's like, oh man, I want to get in your pants. And he's like, you see this? He's like, that's his face when he's like, man, your ass is thick. I want some of that.
You might want to go get tested. That's what I'm trying to get at here. That's what this whole tale's about.
He's like, shit, is this where I get the test over here? So he runs over here and he's like, nope, there's just a stupid fucking box where he's like, ooh, I bet you if I bought her this, I could definitely get laid. And then he looks at the price tag and he's like, oh, that shit's $800. And he's like, how about this fucking rice
separator?
And then we flash over to, Hellboy detective. And Omni-Man shows up. He's like, listen here, motherfucker. Leave my family alone. You threaten my family, I'll fucking kill you. And he's like, I'm a fucking demon. Kind of like from Dogma. He's like, I'm a fucking demon.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
And he's like, I will fucking crush your soul and shit. And he was pretty brutal with his words too. He's like, I will fucking kill you and all that stuff. And he's like, I will get the truth. I'm Hellboy. And he's like, I'm going to punch you in the back of the head. But he doesn't. And he's like, you can go fuck yourself, Omni-Man. And then Omni-Man's like, fuck you, demon guy. And he fucking flies out of the room quick as shit and like slams the door and stuff as he flies out.
I think Omni-Man's a little bit afraid of him. And they even alluded to that later on. Like that fight there would have been bad.
Then we have the twins. Remember the twins. They escaped from the prison last time. They had the benefactor, which was Robot. Ooh. And so he goes to this warehouse and he's getting all these computer parts, which I really wonder where he got it all.
They should have been playing the A-Team theme song this whole time.
I love it when a plan comes together because he built an entire cloning system.
Yeah.
And I actually thought this was a really cool scene because they're impervious and stuff. And he's sitting there with this drill because he needs to get some of his DNA.
Yeah.
And he like drills in and he gets some of the blood out. And then he starts splicing the cell and he's like, oh yeah, that's my shit. And then he went and got a bunch of hamburgers from Burger Barn, whatever. And he put it in. He's like, eat well, my brother. And now we have they are now at the actual headquarters because the Guardians of the Globe, they are now the official Guardians of the Globe. So they are coming to the Guardians of the Globe headquarters.
And we got Deep Gambit there talking shit still.
Hey, Rexplosion is amazing. Rexplosion is awesome. He is still my favorite character in this whole show.
Oh, you know Stifler's going to play him in the live action version.
Oh, God, I hope so. Oh, and then this guy was like, I remember when I was here the first time. And Rexplosion's like, shut the fuck up, old man. If I have to hear you about you being fucking losing your powers one more time.
Why is it that Travis reminds me of Rexplosion?
A little bit.
Granted, she is 24 years old.
Yeah. No, she's 26. She's 26.
I thought they said 24. 26. See, this is why I need Cindy and stuff.
I put my money on 25. I'm pretty sure I heard her say 25.
Anyway, fucking director Riff Raff shows up.
Yeah.
And he's like,
let's do the time.
This is not a sightseeing. This is your place of business. And he's like, well, you miss a spot up there. And it was the blood stain on the wall from when the other Guardians died. And he's like, yeah, once you earn your place, then we'll clean this off.
Then he turns around. He's like, it's just a jump to the left. And
then a step to the right. Anyway, and then he's like, you see this?
Look at the butthole mouth on that guy.
He's like, do you want to know how I got these scars? She's crushing on Rexplosion, dude. I think she totally is.
Monster Girl. And she comes up like, hey, are we good? I know I said you had a little dick and all that, but are we good now? And
he's like, no, fuck you.
He's like, yeah, fine.
And that's when Robot told him to keep his shit in his pants.
Yeah, he did.
Robot being the voice of reason here. It's like, keep your shit in your pants.
Yeah, well.
Keep it in.
There's always a motive.
I mean, he's fucked every other girl in the group. Why not? You know?
Hey, I'm telling you, Duplicate, man. That could be a good time. Omni-Man comes home and he's like, what are you doing? She's like, where have you been? And he's like, I was just out. And she's like, with that whore Olga? No. What the fuck did you just say to me? And she gets really pissy where he's like, you need to stop worrying about this shit. And he's like, you don't have to go to work. I'm the strongest man alive. And she's like, I'm a strong, independent woman, and I don't need you. And he's like, that's true, but, you know, you want this power dick. And she's like, yeah, I do. And he's like, you see this mustache? That's for the mustache ride.
Step right up, ladies, and don't be shy. It's a chance of a lifetime. Why ask why? Bunch up your panties, girl, and throw them aside.
Time to saddle up for a mustache ride.
You have no idea. Like Christopher Walken, you have no idea what I'm capable of. And all of a sudden, Cecil or AKA Director Riff Raff shows up, and he like chokes him out, slams against the wall. He's like, I could have killed you. And he's like, I tried to teleport outside the front door. And he's like, well, I have a mission. And he's like, but he just got better and all that stuff. And then you have fucking Amber.
Fuck, I hate that bitch.
You got Mark walking to the house. She's like, so if you like me, you'll kiss me and shit. And
I fucking hate her so much.
And he's like, woohoo! I got a second date with her. I'm super excited. And then he does like the launch in the air, like in an old like 80s sitcom at the end, but he actually just flies off. And then he gets home and, they're all talking. And he's like, there's a mission and we're going to Mars. And I need Omni-Man to go with them to Mars. And Omni-Man's like, I don't want to do that shit. I'm here.
Like, fuck them astronauts.
I'm here to train and save the planet and stuff. And then Mark's like the ultimate doucher. He's like, oh, fuck it, I'll do it. And then Omni-Man's like, oh, motherfucker. So she's sitting there saying, well, if Mark wants to do it, he can make his own choice because he's a big boy. And then he's like,
a big boy now.
He's like, I don't shop at Baby Gap anymore, Mom. And then Omni-Man's like, well, we're supposed to train, but I guess if he wants to, in his mind, he's saying, fuck this little fucker. And she's like, but when you're gone, see these lips, Daddy?
Oh, yeah.
That's what's going to be happening.
Then Bobby Hill's over there.
Yeah, you got older, skinnier Bobby Hill is across the street because they're doing surveillance. They've been watching them fuck like superheroes for like weeks now. And they're like, oh my God, I thought we were trying to get Omni-Man off planet so that way we could research and stuff. She's like, well, we'll send the kid because we want to see what he's made of. And everybody's like,
see where his heart is.
There's a fucking
AdamEve.com.
AdamEve.com. And she's
45% off. Use the promo code OG-san sent you.
That is a lie. If you have that code, that'd be awesome. You can't tell me what to do. I'm a strong woman. And so he's like, fuck, I got to go to Mars. And she's like, well, I'll fucking think about you while you're gone. She didn't say that. It's a 2-minute countdown to the launch of the space mission. And of course, he shows up and he's like, hey, I found, I turned some tricks this weekend and bought this chest for you. And she's like, oh, cool. And he's like, now show me them titties. Look, he's looking right at her titties. Yeah. And
he did not get to see titties.
He did not. And she's like, no shit. And he's like, well, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks because it's a 2-week mission. He's like, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, but I'm going to miss you. And she's like, I might stay interested.
Because she's a fucking bitch.
She's a horrible human being. She only wants someone she can get. Well, she's like, when are you leaving? He's like, oh, like soon. Because he sees it on the news and it's like 31 seconds to launch. And she's like, hey, how about a quick blowy? And she's like, no, but a kiss will work. And he's like, okay, fine, bitch, I'm out, bye. And then he flies and takes off towards the spaceship, makes it just in time. And then there's like the whole spaceship breaking up. And he's like, oh man, this is so awesome. I'm in fucking space, which I want to know because he's not able to go into the ship because it's a secret mission. Yeah. That is the best oxygen pack ever.
Well, yeah, but he can hold his breath for a long time.
2 weeks?
Now 2 weeks to get to Mars, that is the fastest spaceship that has ever even been thought of. Like 2 weeks, it's a 6-month trip with our fastest ship.
But he only takes one sandwich.
He only takes one sandwich. He tries to bite into the sandwich, and guess what? It's frozen because space is cold.
No.
So he's just sitting up there. He's like, oh, look at this space. Oh, look, there's the guy from the very first episode that they threw into space.
Knock off Vulture.
Yeah. Getting another argument. And he's like, I didn't want him to go. There's more important stuff for him to do. And she's like, saving people's lives is not a bad thing. And she's like, I'm starting to get confused and other people are saying shit. And I think you're cheating on me. He's like, oh, shit, I'm caught. Oh, I don't know. He's like, look at this mustache, baby. I'll make it up to you. She's like, okay.
Step right up, ladies, and don't be shy. It's a chance of a lifetime.
And even I was like, that fucking sandwich should be frozen.
Oh, look at that sandwich. Ready? Oh. And that's the end of the sandwich. And he's like, pack a lunch, my ass. He's like, oh, wow, there's Mars, the red planet. Cool.
Hey, and pretty cool looking shuttle, though. That shuttle was pretty dope. That was
I think they took it off of Elon Musk. I think that was one of his sort of shit. I believe in this show they would probably call him like the Overlord or some shit like that.
Well, I mean, that's what the bitch Amber would call him.
corporations and
No,
feminism.
he would just be called the man.
The man.
The
All right, so
man.
these astronauts that are fucking idiots, they land and he's up there, and of course, like in every space movie where they get on a planet, like they see something, and he's like, one of the astronauts like, "Did you see that?" And they're like, "Huh?" And he's like, "Oh, never mind." What the fuck?
Yeah, like, hey, you're fucking up the plot line, man. Come on, don't. Look
I saw Alien and Aliens. If I see something in space that I don't know what the fuck it is, we're getting the fuck out of there, okay? That's a xenomorph.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I land on Mars and something's moving, the back on the fucking shuttle, nice seeing you.
Now, the reason that Mark is on that mission, it's not just to make sure they get home safe, but Mars actually has Martians on them. They are a subterranean species. They don't think that there's going to be any trouble or anything. It's just the first manned ship to Mars. And we know that there's Martians because one of the original, the stretchy guy.
Yeah, the Martian Manhunter / Mr. Fantastic knockoff guy.
I thought it was Man Martian. They didn't even try to change the word name. It was Man Martian. I'm like, Martian Manhunter, Man Martian. What the fuck? Straight road. Come on, Rob Kirkman. Come on. So they land. So he starts like looking at like selfies and stuff, and he's rubbing one out on Mars, which would be an experience in itself.
Would you not though? Like, I mean,
you see the splooge just, and his phone's dead. He's like, God damn it! How am I supposed to rub one out on the way home? And he looks, and all the fucking astronauts are gone, and their footprints and everything are gone. And he's like, oh fuck. Hey, you remember when I came here and then we had like that crazy anal sex on the promenade and stuff? And she's like, oh yeah, I remember. And he's like, you want to do that shit again? She's like, I don't know, maybe. And then he's like, oh yeah, baby. And then all of a sudden, boom! And there's a huge dragon that comes out of nowhere. Which, are you gonna do something? He's like, I'm on vacation. Let Cecil handle this shit. And I'm like, what a douche, dude. All right, so demon guy is sneaking back into the house, and heaven forbid. You know who's there? Fucking director Riff Raff. He's there. He's like, listen here, motherfucker. I told you to stay away. I'm going to like bring in all my guards. And he did. He brought in a bunch of guards and they arrested him. And they took him in. He's like, you know I'm right. He's like, I know. But I can't have you snooping around. And then Mark's like flying around Mars. He's like, holy shit. I lost the astronauts. I'm going to get in big trouble. And he's like kicking up this huge sandstorm behind, which he never learned in the desert.
Nope.
All the footprints end, and it's like a trap door. And he's like, oh, and then there's giant fucking the Ambrosias.
Yeah. I mean, I think they were friendlier than people thought. Like, you know.
We'll see.
Just trying to make a love connection, that's all. It's lonely on Mars.
I'm just a love machine, and I don't work for nobody but you. Ooh! Oh, anyway, so he fights him off, and he's like, well, I don't have my phone, so I might have to take some of these home with me. This diamonds in the diamonds in the rough on the wall are actually fucking Martians. And it transforms into a Martian's head, and they're like, hey, motherfucker, what are you doing on our planet? And why didn't the fucking space octopuses affect you? And they're like, holy shit, you're a vermite or a termite or whatever you are, so it doesn't mess with you. And they're like, oh shit,
what the hell are they called? Yeah, I forget.
A Vernetian? I don't know. So they like take him to the king guy, and he's like, all hell king fucking Martian dick face. And he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And the guy's like, of course I've heard of your planet because I'm the king of all the Martians. And he's like, whatever. That's straight up like one of the, what are those from the
Trade Federation guys?
Yeah, the trade. We're in big trouble. So they go into this whole thing where they're talking about how he was like, I can just take my astronauts because the astronauts were there to the side. He's like, I'll just take them. We'll get the fuck out of here. No harm, no foul. And he's like, no, dude, because if they have contact with those fucking space octopuses, all right, well, let's make a deal. I'm going to get out of here, and they're coming with me. And he just pretty much takes them, and they're running towards the ship. And all these, they're like Gungan raiders, dude.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like they saw a lot of shit there.
That is straight up, yeah. And they're like, you need to hurry. And they're like, they're running and they're like, "Oh, good job. You know, it was a secret mission, but you fucked it up." He's like, "Hey, you're alive, motherfuckers." And he's like, "Hurry up." And he grabs them, picks them up, which I don't understand why they were all running. Like he was like, "Hurry up," when he could have just picked them up and flew them over there. And then he's like, "Oh man," they started shooting them with their like fucking laser beams. And he's like, "Ow, that hurt." But it doesn't like affect him. It just hurts him, whatever. And he's like, "Man, my biceps and stuff are big, but I'm going to go and fight all these guys." And he realizes that's not going to work. And he's like, "Let's get the fuck out of here." And they're all shooting at the spaceship. And he's like, "You know what? Physics doesn't matter. I'm going to lift this spaceship." So he's like, "Oh, look at how fast we got away." And then he comes back. He's like, "Hey,
I forgot my bitch Amber. I told her I'd get her a fucking gift, so I came and got her a fucking rock.
good job putting lives of astronauts and stuff in fucking jeopardy for that bitch cunt Amber."
Well, I mean, she must be doing something right.
She's taming the invincible penis. And then they're sitting here like, "Man, I always wanted to go to Mars, but I'll never want to go back there now."
Yeah.
And like, well, no shit. This is a big part. This is a big part. Remember, we talked about those octopuses. You know, they attach and they can transform and stuff. Well, watch this shit.
Yeah, he's
oh
God.
You know what that means? One's on him and it's going to get back to the planet.
He's the thing.
He is not a real astronaut. He is a clone.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun,
dun, there he is, back on Mars. He's like, "I'm gonna rule the galaxy." But I want this tentacle just to go right in his mouth. Yeah, the astronauts are returned home safe and sound, but we know better. And he's trying to sneak back home, and he hears all this stuff, and it was his parents doing the super fucking. And he opens the door, and they're like, "Oh shit, you're home early." Maybe she has superpowers too, like when straight up.
She got superpowers, I guarantee you. She got Omni-Man on lockdown. Come on now.
And then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make you a little brother." And then Omni-Man taps her on her shoulder, and she's like, "Huh?" Like he did a practical joke on her. He's like, "I got you, bitch." And he sees Amber, and Amber runs up and gives him a big kiss. And he's like, "Oh my God, I've been thinking about you for so long." And she's like, "Hey, guess what? All this school stuff doesn't fucking matter. You can just disappear for months at a time and everything will be just fine. But guess what? I got the hots for you because I know you're a badass." And then he's like, "Well, I got you a present." And she's like, "What, another rice shaker?" And he's like, "No,
Fucking rock, bitch."
And then she's like, "Oh, a rock. It's what I always wanted." And he's like, "Yeah, don't take it to a geologist or anybody that knows anything about rocks." And then they take back with director Riff Raff. He's taking demon detective
Hellboy there.
Down to the basement. And then he walks in. He's like, "You don't have..." He's like, "I got to send you back to hell." And he's like, "You don't have the book and stuff with the incantation." And he's like, "Technology, motherfucker." And he pulls out like an iPad and he's like, "I transcribed that shit." And he's like, "Motherfucker." And this is where the kinky stuff happens. Like there's swirly stuff, and there's like a bell, like he's a
candle wax.
There's chains that comes out and it straps him down. He's like, and then he disappears. He comes and gets pulled into the ground. And they're like, "We didn't have to kill him." And he's like, "Shut the fuck up, old Bobby Hill. I just sent him back to hell." And he's like, "Is that any better?" And he's like, "Fuck, I don't know." And then you have a robot who comes and he's talking to, if you ever seen the movie Dune, like the 1984, like the little space worm that folds the spice.
Yeah.
That comes in the big vat. That's what this thing is, dude. When him and Rexplosion, I forgot to say this. I'm sorry. I missed it because we fast forwarded. When he was talking with Rexplosion back in the thing, and Rex was like, "You can't tell me what to do, robot. You're not my dad." And he like tapped him on the shoulder, whatever, and he stuck him with the needle, and he got some of Rexplosion's blood. And it ends up he came and gave an offering of Rex's blood, and you're like, "Oh, that's the end." And they're like, "Nope, it's not." And then she's going to the closet and she's looking at stuff, and
there was Hellboy's little notebooks in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know what that means? There's a hint of what's coming. So yeah. And that is episode 4. Neil Armstrong, Eat Your Heart Out.